This is Tami Bonnell, CEO for Exit Realty Corp International. I'm so glad that you could join me. This is all about you. It's about having personal power. During this pandemic, I can't think of a better thing than the opportunity to be able to work on yourself. People, I believe it was Jim Rohn that said, work on your business, but work on yourself more. And I think sometimes when you get overwhelmed or it's easy to be distracted with all the things going on, it's a little bit harder to do that. But I have found things that really work on giving yourself that personal power, and I'd like to share them with you. First and foremost, people want authenticity more than ever. It's that transparency of being able to see a person for who they are and to really be able to connect with that other human being. I think connections are going to have a whole new meaning now where we are. There's no doubt about it. Connection is incredibly important. But that idea of being true to yourself, I actually believe in it so strongly, I have it in a tattoo. Be true to yourself and you'll be able to lead others. People can tell when you're false, but people can also look you up now. There are so many ways to be able to find out exactly who somebody is and what they represent. People want to make a true connection. They want to be able to be connected with like-minded individuals. They want to learn from others. And so your best influence is being your true, authentic self, not trying to be anybody else. All of us were born with specific gifts, and it's that opportunity to be able to work on those gifts to really make a difference in your life as well as the others that you touch. Here's the thing, we all get in our own way. We have that ability to get in our own way. We block everything. We grew up a certain way. We had words that were spoken to us on a regular basis. We might have grown up with one parent, two parents, with grandparents. It doesn't matter what the circumstances were. Whoever we were surrounded by, those influences impacted our lives and impact how we think about ourselves and what we decide to focus on. So one of the best ways to get out of your own way is to put together a list of pros and cons. What are the things that I really love about myself and I love about my life? It's so funny because few people have an easy time saying that they love themselves, but the more that you have the ability to love yourself and what you represent, the easier it is to absolutely love others. So getting out of your own way, putting a list together of all the pros and cons in your life. Here's the things that I love about my life right now and I love about myself right now. And here's the things that if I could wave a magic wand, I'd like to change. I want to see these kind of changes in my life. And then you start asking yourself effective questions. Who could I be learning this from? Who could I have as a mentor that I could learn this specific skill or bring out this ability in me? What do I need to read? Who do I need to be surrounding myself with? It could be podcasts that are specifically giving you some instruction to help you. Maybe you want to be able to meditate, or you want to be able to stay in the present tense more often. We have much more control over our lives when we're in the present tense. So it really matters to be able to stay in the present tense. Asking yourself effective questions, by the way, I find that if you do that more first thing in the morning and at the end of the day, that you'll be more creative. Downtime at the end of the day, you're more creative and you'll ask some effective questions. And I find that it also even helps you to sleep because you've already asked the question. It doesn't wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Asking yourself effective questions on who I should be surrounding myself with, who should I be reaching out to, what should I be learning right now, what would help me in these circumstances, right? Asking yourself those effective questions will really make a difference. Having the list in front of you so that you can see and you can actually watch your growth. By the way, working on yourself is something that you should be doing on a daily basis. And I know that people feel like they don't have time, and yet all of us are allotted the same amount of time. Time is our most valuable asset, right? But we spend truly 20% of our time on 80% of our results. And that study has been done over and over and over again, that we do spend 20% of our time on 80% of our results. So while you're watching this, write down what those things are that you see that you get the most results out of, because that'll help you to really find that good solid lane that you should be in from a business perspective, but even from a personal perspective. None of us are going to be good at everything. There are some things that we were born with that we have a natural love for and a natural skill set for, and we want to concentrate on doing more of that. If you really want to grow as an individual, you really want to grow as a person, figuring out what that 20% is so that I can do more of that. That other 80% that I'm not getting the same kind of results from, I should probably be allocating that to someone else. That should be someone else's job, someone else's task. Sure, there are some things that all of us have to do, but it is really paying attention to that. And how you begin and end your day really does matter. The most successful people in the world, the majority of them get up fairly early and they spend time alone. They spend some quiet time alone. And there are several different versions. One of them is Savers, it's the morning miracle, silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing, writing. Spending that quiet time, even if it's 10 minutes a piece and you're spending an hour alone in quiet, you'll find that you're going to have control over your entire day. But maybe it's just that you meditate first thing in the morning and you meditate at the end of the day to calm yourself down and quiet down. Here's a couple of things that I have found that have helped me to grow every single day. Every morning I do practice Savers and it's worked incredibly well. But before I leave, whether I'm in a hotel room or my own home, before I leave and I go to work or I go to a speaking engagement or whatever it is that I have on my schedule, I actually close my eyes and I visualize. I close my eyes and I actually visualize for 120 seconds. We can change our whole entire day in 120 seconds. I close my eyes and I visualize, how do I want this day to go? How do I want those people to feel? What do I want the end result to be? And I picture the entire thing. And I'm telling you, it comes out closer and closer to the way I picture it every day, because I've already planned it in advance. It puts you in the right headspace. Mindset is 4 times as important as even the activities we do. So my intention and where I want to go and where my focus is goes exactly to where I want it to be. And it's almost like you're making a heart-to-heart connection with the people that are in front of you. At the end of the day, my work day, your business day, close your eyes and ask yourself what worked today. But back to the same thing, it's mindset. It will put you in the right frame of mind so that I know what to work today. And as soon as I open my eyes, I write down what worked. It could be the right tagline in an email. It could be that I was there for someone at exactly the right time. It doesn't matter what that thing is. It could be the best sale of my life. But it's really about writing it down so that when you get back to work, your framework is going to be in the right place. Right before I go to bed, because it's all about how you begin and end the day, I write down anything I'm concerned with on a pad of paper. I keep a legal pad beside my bed and I write down anything I'm concerned with. It takes it out of my subconscious. It takes it out of my mind so that I'm not thinking about it and I won't wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't do anything about it between midnight and 5 a.m. anyway. And I put it aside, and it's literally like I'm mentally setting it aside, but I won't forget it. I'll address it tomorrow if there's something I forgot. And then I ask myself a few effective questions before going to bed. What did I learn today? Who did I help? And did I take my company further? Not necessarily in that order. And always last, what am I most grateful for? And that puts me in a great headspace and relaxes, and it's just this quiet shutting down so that I can actually get back to going to sleep, being well rested so that the next day is going to be more valuable. Income equals value. You know, the value you provide for someone else, whatever it is that you're doing for a living. An awful lot of people that are paying attention to this are in sales, but whatever it is that you're doing, your income is directly correlated to the value that you provide for someone that's in front of you, the value that you provide for anybody. So what is that added value? What am I doing to add value to that person in front of me? We know that communication and connection is so important. It's more important today than it ever has been. So if I focus on how I can add value to this person's life, if I'm working one-on-one with people, I can actually do my homework. I can Google them, I can friend them on Facebook, I can connect with them on LinkedIn, I can put them on a list, I can see what's going on in their world so that I can really truly make a connection. The more we build a relationship that adds value to that other person, the more trust they're going to put in us and the more helpful we are to them. Don't just worry about nailing the presentation. Don't worry about um, just making the money. Think about what it is that you are doing to add value. And going back to being true to yourself, what is that one thing that's going to be really terrific for you? I try and personalize it as much as humanly possible. This is, without question, the experience economy, so personalizing is very important. But think about that right before you get in front of somebody. What is that value that I'm going to add? I have a actual personal story that probably set me on much more of a trajectory than anything else. And it's actually a personal story um, of feeling the best about yourself when you didn't know you could. Uh, a lot of you are parents, and I know that as a mom, everyone in our family does martial arts. And for 15 years, 3 times a week, we went and we made a commitment and we committed to doing martial arts together. And in the beginning, our kids wanted to be ninjas. There was Karate Kid and all that kind of stuff. And then they realized that it was a discipline, that it was that mind-body connection. And we made a commitment that all of us would go through and that our children would commit to going all the way to black belt, which at the least amount of time takes 3 years. And just like when you're sticking with going through high school, when you're sticking with going through university, that more people quit those last 6 months because they let things pile up, right? They've procrastinated and they let things pile up and now they're overwhelmed. And that overwhelming feeling makes it really difficult for them to continue going forward. So we made our children commit to going all the way to black belt. It was a 3.5-year commitment. And in our school, our dojang, you have to make a commitment that you have to write what it means to become a black belt. You have to do a charitable event. You have to give back to your community in some way, shape, or form. And it's a 2-day test that is unbelievable. It's 8 hours the first day, about 10 hours the second day. You have to fight against imaginary opponents. You have to create your own form that you're fighting against imaginary opponents and justify it. You have to do it to music. And at the end of the day, you have to break a brick. And that brick takes about 500 pounds of pressure. At that point in time, our oldest, William, was 13 years old and Shane had just turned 10. Shane weighed 65 pounds. And the night before going to do the tests, William kicked him in the head. And so it was this just crazy chaos going on in our family. Well, they went through and did the test on all day, all afternoon Friday. It went on until 11 o'clock at night after school, after a full day of school, and all day Saturday. And they did both break the bricks and they finished. The next day, Sunday morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, I got woken up by my oldest son. And usually if you get woken up in the middle of the night, it's that, oh my gosh, what's going on here? And I got woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning and he woke, just, you need to wake up. He woke up both my husband and myself and he said, I need to talk to you right now. And we both just sat up, bolt upright. And he said, thank you so much for making me stick with this. I feel the best about myself than I ever have. And I honestly know that I can do anything with my life. Well, I want to tell you, those last 6 months, they were kicking the back of our seat of our car every single time on the way there and on the way back. I can't believe you're making us do this. We were staying awake at night talking about, should we really make them stick with it? This is really a lot to push on younger kids. But I want to tell you, when you're bold about something that your gut, your insides tell you that this is the right thing and you need to do it, stick with it. That's the time that you break through and you accomplish things that you absolutely never knew you could, and you can never go back from there. Investing in people. You know, this is the experience economy and it is about people, but I'm going to tell you, if when you invest in people and you find out what's really important to them and you help them, whether you're mentoring them or you're just investing to make sure that they know they matter, every time you do that, what you pour out comes back to you. So you receive as much as you give, and if not more so. And I think it truly ends up being more so. And you grow as a person to depths that you never imagined. Every time you have the opportunity to invest in someone, whether it's teaching them something, giving them a little bit of advice, and I don't mean being forceful or jumping into somebody's life, but when you see somebody and you catch somebody doing something good, or you can, might I make a suggestion, and you make a suggestion and you help them improve and show them how to do something in an easier way, just making sure that they know that they matter. Every time you do that, you're not just investing in them and whoever else they touch, it's that pebble going into the water, but you're also investing that back in yourself, and you'll see it pay you back in multiples. I got asked this question doing interviews over the last little bit on the true definition of empower. And I really think that it's important for us, not just investing in people, but in investing in ourselves. There are too many times when we do the job for someone, and that is not going to help anybody to grow. True leaders build other leaders. And the best way that you can build another leader, and the best way you can build yourself, is to empower yourself. Don't lean on someone else or expect someone else to do the job for you. It's that whole thing about teach somebody to fish and they'll eat for a lifetime. If I fish for them, I'm going to have to fish for them again tomorrow and the next day. So my best advice on empowering both yourself and others: learn it, do it, teach it. If I learn it, I'm gonna absorb it, but it may not stick as much. Once I do it and I apply it, it's that whole time space learning. It will go further, but once I teach it, it's in me and it will never disappear. Measure your impact. Measure your impact on everyone that you're touching. Measure your impact on how much value you're adding to individuals. Measure your impact on any way that you can. If you're touching individuals and you're having an impact on their lives and you're seeing them grow as people, if you're doing better and increasing your income, or you're making more sales, or you're accomplishing more in a day, there are so many ways to be able to measure what your impact is. For anybody that has clients, I think that it's really important to measure that impact of, am I meeting or exceeding? If you could wave a magic wand, perfect world, paint the picture for me, and really get them to give you constructive feedback so that you can improve your impact on a regular basis. You want to get to the point that you're unconsciously competent and that your abilities have just grown and grown. And the other part of that, never stop growing. That's why measuring impact is so important, because as human beings, if we ever want anybody to follow us, we've got to continue to grow as a human being. If we really want to attract good and better, then we've got to attract the right caliber of people into our lives. And we're not going to do that if we're not constantly growing as an individual. It's incredibly important. I think this is my favorite. You've got to own it. You've got to own whatever happened. Whatever's going on in your lives, you've got to own it. There are times when you go in and you know that you nailed it and that you completely owned the room. You know that you owned the day. You took ownership of moment after moment after moment. But that also means we have to own it when we're not doing the right stuff, or when we made a mistake, and we need to own up for it. It's probably some of the best opportunities for growth there are. People really respect and resonate with people that are true and truthful enough to be able to own up to the fact that they may or may not have done something wrong, made a mistake, maybe they didn't treat a person the way they should have. Own it instantly, correct it, and move on. Most of the time, if you're working on yourself and you're really strongly working on providing yourself personal power, you'll absolutely not just own the moments, but you'll own the day, you'll own the week, you'll own the month. And the more you grow, the more you'll see that be true. But every time we do make a mistake, we should absolutely take control and own it. I know that you could have been anywhere else and you chose to pay attention to this today. I believe that it will help. If you'd like some bullet points to help you in your journey as you grow, text 85377, personal power, all in one word, and you'll get some notes sent. I hope you make the best of the rest of your day.